Hello, comrades, and welcome to Ushanka Show live. My name is Sergey, and I was born in the USSR. Today we got a rainy day here in Michigan, and after I'm done with my errands, I decided I might as well just do a quick Ushanka Show live. We'll talk about life in the Soviet Union. As always, I'm doing on the phone, trying to get this reflection of my and on the computer here. I'm gonna see if I can. Here we go. So I can answer questions looking at the big screen, but I'll be talking on the phone. This modern technology is kind of weird. So greetings. If you guys have any questions about Soviet Union, please. We got Alaska online. That's awesome. One of the states I need to visit. Unfortunately, right now we're not. It's not possible to visit anything right now. So yeah, if you have any questions about the Soviet Union in general, please ask. First question: what is like being a communist? I have no idea. I never been a communist. I made as far as a Komsomol member, which is young communist, and I had to do it because at that time was the condition that they'll take you to college only if you Komsomol member. At least was in Kiev, so I did that. I got San Francisco. Steve, how's it going? Florida, Julie, how are you? What was the main religion of the Soviet Union? Of course, there was a Russian Orthodox. I mean, the main religion was communism, Leninism, and we had Soviet Jesus, Lenin. But otherwise, the only religion was not really going after in the end. It was the Russian Orthodox. Then we had some Catholics in Ukraine, Western Ukraine. We got some Svetlana from United Kingdom. Hi, Svetlana, how are you? Как дела? Do you see any similarities how the Soviet Union handled Chernobyl and how the Chinese handled COVID-19? Oh, absolutely. You hide the bad news till the last minute, till it's no possible to hide. So there's definitely similarities. I mean, any government, I mean, we had a unique situation here in America right now. It's our president decided if he just doesn't believe in it, it's never going to show up on the shores. But definitely China, that's a classic example. They trying to keep stuff hush hush until that can of worms you can't keep the lid on anymore. So yeah, I'm not sure if they could do any better, but definitely the doctor who was sounding alarm, he ended up dying, and no one listened to him at that time. Okay, moving along. I found your videos really interesting, Alberto says. Thank you, Alberto. There is a large Russian Ukrainian community in Michigan. Yes, around Detroit, there's quite a bit. I don't say Ukrainian, that's from the Soviet Union. If you're looking at Ukrainian communities, probably need to go to Canada, like Toronto has a lot, and there was a big Ukrainian migration after World War One. It is the 50th anniversary of Lada this month, and near the same age as you. Yeah, thanks. I'm almost 50. I was born in 1971. I think Lada went online a year or so, a year earlier, because yeah, I mean, that car now have like a second rebirth. I can't believe it. It's kind of, I guess when when you get old, when the cars that you'd never paid attention to suddenly becomes like hot item with the new generation or people who had before. I'm curious if any of you guys started watching Farza show that I talked to about. I watched part one and hoping to watch part two tonight. I find it quite fascinating, especially because that's actually Russians doing show about Soviet Union, not like Americans or British. Although Chernobyl was done really well, I found it translation. There were some items could be translated better, or they just couldn't translate to make exact meaning, but it's really challenging. I recall I watched there was a movie with Will Smith when he became a superhero. What the heck, can't remember the name, but he had the Hancock. Thank you, my son Oliver helping me, and he had this tight costume. When he arrived, these cops look at him funny. They're like, and he's like, "What? Yeah, it's a little bit tight," and they translate into Russian like, "Yeah, it's like a little bit like squeezing me here and there, although translation was tight, more like, yeah, it looks a little bit gay, but so they couldn't translate it correctly. It's kind of similar situation here. There was some good kind of saying in Russian, but they translated really not that. Oh, привет из Slovakia. We got Jan Badura from Slovakia. How's it going? What are the best Soviet action movie? I would say probably Яркое солнце пустыни. So I'm trying to think, not the Yarka, can't forget. But anyways, it's a Desert Sun. It's old action movie. It's really good. I think it's the best one. Wow, can't remember the name. Okay. Okay, moving along. I live in Southeast Alaska in Sitka, which was the capital of Russia, known Alaska. Yep, we have Orthodox Church. Yeah, there's a lot of leftovers of Russian culture there in Alaska. I read the book Mincher guy, this big book Alaska. That was a lot of interesting information there about Russians in Alaska because we never discussed in detail interactions between native Indians and native people in Alaska and Russians. Sounded like there was just a peaceful, perfect relation. They accepted the Russian Orthodox Church and everything was great. So it definitely wasn't the case, but okay, we got even some people from the former Soviet Union, from Stalingrad. Comrade Pavlus is watching my both channels for quite a while. How's it going? It's kind of late over there, 17. It's a midnight. It's midnight in Russia right now. You mentioned that at least your least favorite teacher was Jewish woman. Were the Jews and people of religious faith encouraged to leave the USSR or encouraged to forget their religion? The people I knew, like Jewish people, I don't think they practiced religion in Soviet Union because she was teaching us on Saturdays, so they couldn't do it if they really observe Sabbath. But when they changed the law, immigration law here in America in what 70s, and it became really easy to apply for citizenship in America if you were Jewish in Soviet Union. We had, of course, hundreds of thousands of Jews left. It was a giant, like, brain drain. But I don't think about religion. Yes, they were kind of going after people like Seventh-day Adventists and Jehovah's Witnesses. But we didn't have a lot of them, but those little amounts. All right, we got Keith from Southwest France, originally from Ireland. That's quite an interesting move. Hello, Keith. Glad you like my channel. Did you ever notice Brezhnev health declining? Oh, everybody noticed that. I mean, they played live his performances when he read speeches, and we had so many jokes about him misreading stuff and making mistakes because he was pathetic. I mean, they should remove him probably early 80s after he had stroke, but he was a convenient figure. He was very nice to people and then let the corruption grow to insane levels. And of course, because of the high oil prices, Soviet Union was doing great at that time, but not because great. If you have a big cash inflow, your economy will be doing great for a little bit. But yeah, of course, I told you, whoever watching my channel for a while, that famous joke when he was reading the speech and then suddenly, it's around Olympics 1980 in Moscow, and he read and then he started saying, oh, and they couldn't understand why he's doing it. So the guy peeked behind his shoulder and he's like, Comrade Brezhnev, that's not O's, that's Olympic rings. You don't need to read them as O's. So a joke like that. So there was, definitely. I mean, it was pathetic to watch, his performance, because you could tell he's an old man that barely can stand, and they make him read this speech, or he wanted to read some speech for an hour, and then everyone stop him every 10 minutes, and everyone stands up and start clapping. That was just ridiculous. All right, James Johns, thank you. We got first donation. If you guys didn't know, you can help my channel by donating. There's so-called super chat. You can click on that and throw some money my way, and then if you have a question, I can answer your question ahead of anybody else. So please do that if you're in the mood, because definitely YouTube right now, it's interesting. Like my Russian channel, I have a channel which I started way before, Ushanka Show. My views skyrocketed because a lot of people are curious about what's going on in America regards to coronavirus. But views like up 70%, and income, it's like $30 coming from Russian channel, like went down. So crisis hits everyone. So James is asking, how was firearm control in the USSR, and do you prefer how America handles it? I already had a video on this topic. I had like a short history of firearms in Soviet Union. So pretty much you can only own hunting, and it should be shotgun. You couldn't have a rifle only if you live like in Siberia and you're professional hunter for the government. Otherwise, the only people who could get like a handgun pistol would be like some important military personnel, like generals, and then when they retire, they get a present, Tokarev handgun or something like that. But otherwise, people, I saw one, I think in person, like I hold once only a shotgun in Soviet Union, and one time, one kid, they found a TT pistol from World War II. I think it was Tokarev. He brought to school to show it, and that's the only time I saw guns. And I don't like how in America they handle it. I think it's too easy. Like I bought a Mosin Nagant rifle in 30 minutes. Like I never owned a gun. I never was a citizen of the United States. At that time I had only a green card. 30 minutes later, they sold me this rifle. It's a military grade thing, right? It's old. And I was like, you don't need any documents. Like, I'm not crazy, any papers. They're like, no, we're fine. So I think it's way too easy in America. It should be hard. It should be expensive. It should be hard. So that's my, if they'll be more strict about who was buying guns, I think we'll have less problems as people walk into schools and mowing down children. What are your thoughts on third way economics like distributism? I have no idea. I live in the Soviet Union, but it doesn't mean I'm like a really experienced scientist or economist about how things could work. It's definitely socialism. If you listen people who explain socialism on YouTube, like theory is amazing. It makes sense. It shows like all the weakest spots of the capitalism, but then I lived in socialism and I know it sucked. And what I'm keep on saying that socialism is ideal system for ideal people. So if everyone is ideal, everyone works as hard as they could and not being compensated for that, it will work. But otherwise, it's like, it doesn't work just because people are not perfect. So in theory, it's amazing, but in reality, it's not gonna work. Every country that tried socialism, it starts with peasants dying and by millions because they don't understand that they need to grow harvest and just give it away for nothing because this is our plan. That's how we're gonna do it. Okay, moving along. Jordan Carroll, hi, some of my ancestors are Catholic Ukrainians, but I think most people follow Orthodox religions there. Is there any reason so many Catholic Ukrainians emigrated? Of course, there's big reasons because you're probably talking about Ukrainians from the Western Ukraine. So that was under Poland for hundreds of years, and that's why it's Catholic. The rest of the territory was under Russia, and that's a Russian Orthodox. So when they started changing borders after World War I, there was a huge bunch of Ukrainians left to Canada. Then after World War II, I believe a lot of Ukrainians, they had a little flavor of Soviet rule from 1939 to 1941. First Soviet Union moved in, attacked Poland together with Germany. They split Poland, so they took Western Ukraine. So those Ukrainians who realized that under Soviets is actually worse than under Poles, they then had chance to immigrate it. So it's not like by religion, it's just because their location were in the Western Ukraine. So there was, they kind of figure out they need to run. Okay, how were travel restrictions inside the USSR regarding traveling inside USSR? There was hardly any restrictions. You could pretty much go anywhere except so-called closed cities. For example, like Sevastopol, the Navy port in on the Black Sea, it was called closed city. So you need to have a permission to go in there because they were afraid, they don't want spies to enter the town because it was a Navy base. There was a lot of in Siberia, Ural Mountains. There were secret close cities like Chelyabinsk, and there'll be numbers. So all the nuclear development places where the scientists were developing nuclear weapons, whatever that stuff, there was also so-called closed cities that were not even shown on the maps, and you had to get permission to go in there. Otherwise, like traveling, you can just, if you have money and time, you could travel anywhere in Soviet Union. There had no limits. Was the Che Guevara famous in USSR? I wouldn't say he was famous. We knew about him. I mean, Fidel Castro was way more famous than Che Guevara. I can tell you that's for sure. Do you know of any ham radios operators you lived in the Soviet times in Ukraine? Nope. Didn't know anybody. Have no idea that it actually was such a thing, honestly. Svetlana commenting, I heard the YouTube is paying shit now. Well, the rates definitely went down quite a bit. And like I remember, there's this term called CPM. It's cents per million of views or impressions. And United States was always on the top and was like $8 per CPM. Now it's down to like five, I think, dollars. And sometimes I see like Australia or Netherlands will jump above. So they got their algorithm. Of course, everything stopped on its tracks, and no one is advertising, and not many people. So definitely, YouTube never paid a lot, and they blocking a lot of monetizations. Sometimes I wonder why my channel is not getting more attention than other channels. And it's like a mystery because there's a channels that, they talk about Soviet Union or Russia and they have millions of viewers. But I'm looking, I was like, there's nothing there but just silly entertainment. There's no information whatsoever. Here, I think we get more kind of educational stuff and it's barely moving. I got lucky with that Chernobyl timing. Otherwise, I mean, like hardly 200 subscribers adding per month. So we're talking, I'll probably be in my 80s when we hit 100,000 subscribers. So, okay. Next question. Let's see. Sorry, it jumped a little bit. Thank you, Steve94044 for donating $1. Appreciate it. Thank you for your support. Привет из Нидерландов. We got Netherlands or Holland. We call them Galandia usually in Soviet Union. How were the UPA viewed in the Soviet Ukrainian? I think you're talking UPA, it's Ukrainian Povstanchskaya Army, so it's a nationalist army. Of course, during the Soviet Union, that was not covered in positive light. So yeah, there were like nationalists that being paid by America or other enemies of the Soviet Union. And so definitely now it's changed because if you think about it, we have a Ukraine right now, its national flag is blue and yellow, Zhovto-Blakitny, which was like the worst nightmare for Stalin or anybody. Svetlana, thank you so much. We got donation for Great Britain. How about that? We got some serious pounding going here. Thank you. So question goes, why don't you give up your guns? It's a good question. Why do you want me to give up guns? They locked up in my office. I got locks on the things, and if somebody will guarantee me that it will stop kids being killed in schools, I happily will donate them, or I'll just pour some lead inside of the barrels and keep them as a souvenir. I bought them not because I'm a gun enthusiast, but because it's a huge piece of the Soviet history. Most of my gun also have a revolver. So I don't own AR-15s, or those guns that people actually go to schools and kill people. James is on fire. Another $10. Thank you, James. You don't have to do that. Do you know any Soviet time? And it disappeared. Let me see. Let me click on it. It should tell me. Do you know any Soviet USSR time frame cookbooks that show good recipes that were common in households at the time? I'm looking for one, preferably in English. You know, I actually have a couple here I bought off eBay. And actually, I see maybe I can get my son to go and fetch them, and I can show you right now. Although there's some interesting stuff, there's like, we never cooked stuff like that. But James, let me get you. Oliver, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Do you mind to run upstairs and ask mom to give me those Russian cookbooks, please? Спасибо. My son's gonna get it in a minute. So James will have coming up, but there's some recipes, they're pretty wild. Like my wife, she says she's gonna puke just by reading those recipes. Okay, we're moving along. The availability of guns to citizens keeps the government from murdering their citizens. Okay, I gotta read it again. The availability of guns to citizens keeps the government from murdering their citizenship. You know, that's a really interesting point because I'm thinking, remember when Roosevelt decided to confiscate the gold from American citizens in what, 1930 something? I don't remember the date. So we had American citizens, they're all armed. Do you think anyone marched to Washington, D.C. and said, hell no, you're not taking our gold? I believe everyone gave up their gold and got raped by Federal Reserve bankers and American government. And I didn't hear a single story about uprising and armed uprising against their own government. So I think it's a bunch of BS. It's my personal opinion. Oh, there's another one, older one. Did you look? There's another one like a green color. Can you please?
Like she might have thrown it away.
Oh, you kidding me?
I'll go look.
Yeah, it's a green one.
Green?
Okay, so we got one cookbook just came in. But this is a little bit, let me see. Okay, so this is first one we bought. And I think they got it on Amazon. So this is called the Russian cookbook. So it doesn't really say, I mean, most of them will say Russian. They will never say Soviet cookbook. But they got, I think the lady, she actually moved. Yeah, it's written by Anya von Bremzen, so some Russian lady that married German guy, and John Welkman. So that's from 1990. Okay, so it is like still Soviet era book. Please to the table, пожалуйста, к столу. So they actually even named the book like that, so you can check it out. My wife cooks some stuff, but I don't think we use this book much. But they have like eggplant kebabs, pheasant Georgian style. I think they go all over. Okay, Lithuanian. So she goes through all the republics of the Soviet Union and got some recipes from everywhere. Chopped herring. Here you go. So this is some herring stuff. A lot of herring. Feta cheese spread. I don't know if we gotta use brinza, but yeah, this is the one to look. But there was another one, it's older book, and they had a lot of like cooking brains and some like cooking stomachs. There was some recipes that I was like, damn, this is rough. So anyway, okay. So I hope, James, I answered, but that's the one I would suggest right away to look for. There's probably tons of newer ones right now, and also you can check on YouTube. There's quite a few channels that have Russian recipes, and girls doing them in English. Mostly girls, I think. I didn't see guys doing it. My wife made a couple. I have a couple on Russian channel. I need to keep on asking her to make some. Like she did a good job utilizing American ingredients to make the recipes that she saw my mom making. No luck?
Nope.
Dang it.
She probably threw it away.
Or maybe I hid it in my office. That's probably what it is. Can I ask you? It's unlocked. It should be on that bookshelf. It's a big green book. It says Russian something. We're still trying to find second book, the one which is hardcore. But yeah, there's like cooking brains. It was pretty bad. White Elephant says goodbye, goodbye, Mr. White Elephant. Okay, Soviet nostalgia silly, stupid, or dangerous? Offensive to the victims of communism, disrespectful to the heroes of the Soviet Union. Greetings from the half Dutch, half Polak. That's an interesting mixture there. I mean, nostalgia, everyone, a lot of people, they probably just miss their youth. You know what I mean? I'm still young and pretty decent shape, so I don't miss those days when I can just get up and, run or do something. Like I ran actually yesterday 13 miles. So I'm kind of better physical shape when I was a teenager in the Soviet Union. So I don't really miss that part. For me, it's easy because I go to Ukraine every year, every 2 years, and every time I go there, it's like a reminder. This is why I don't miss that stuff. You kind of think you're missing all those things. Oh my goodness, we got it. We got this big ass book. I shouldn't say that. Okay. So this book right here, James, Classic Russian Cuisine. We got it on Amazon, or maybe you can get it on eBay. Let's see what it's dating to. Arcade published in New York. So it published in New York, and we'll see when. And that book was $40 at that time when they published it. Okay, so this is way better. And this is a copyright of 1989. So it was published originally in Germany. And then it got republished in America in 1993. So, okay, so this is has a bunch of color pictures actually. So that's more done. The other one is big, thick, but doesn't have photos. Here we got pictures. Roast pork with prunes. But yeah, let's see if I can find you some of those expressions. I said, I was like, oh my goodness. Sauces, baked carp with buckwheat grilled stuffing. So, this is our recipe. No one eats carp around here, and hardly anyone eats buckwheat. And this is baked carp with buckwheat. Carp with rice. So, let's see, that was here you go. So, I'm not joking. This is the recipe. See that? It's a calf brains au gratin. Мозги, запеченные в духовке. So, if you have brains, some farmer kills his, there's a calf's brains in a crab meat sauce. There is a braised udder with apples and rice. So we cooked udder too. Deep fried calf's brains. Calf's liver with mushrooms. I like liver. Larded liver. Calf's brain pudding. How about calf's brain pudding? So yeah, this is another one. Pig's stomach with potato stuffing. So yeah, stuffed beef tongue. I probably should post some of those just for the. Got beautiful pictures. So anyway, that's another one. Alla Sakharov. So remember Andrei Sakharov? This is Alla Sakharov. Classic Russian Cuisine. So that's another book I have. But yeah, if you like to cook brains, there's the book to go. Okay, so let's try to catch up with questions. So yeah, the Soviet Union said, for me, it's easy because I come back, I see what, and yeah, definitely I don't miss that. But I think a lot of people just miss because they were young, and it's changed a lot. But, I don't go hardcore either way, like, oh, you should just wipe it all out. It is what it is. I didn't have a choice where I was born, and like my childhood was really good. I'm happy. Like I feel bad for these kids. Video games, hardly playing outside. I mean, I enjoy to have my own house, but then, when I live in an apartment building, we go outside and it's just like you have 10 kids to play with. We got so much adventures and stuff. So, yeah. Okay. Um, After 30 years of fall, how do you feel towards the USSR? I mean, neutral. It was there, and there is the reason why it's collapsed. It's like people still surprised us. Like, sometimes you see this massive oak tree, and then one day there was a wind and tree collapsed, and you're like, I can't believe what had happened. Then you just look inside, and it's all rotten. That's pretty much what happened to the Soviet Union. It's run its uh, lifespan, and people just didn't want to live that way, and people at power didn't want to live that way, so they just dropped that tree. And so I just a part of my life. I don't have any negative or any positive. It's just said I'm happy my childhood happened there, because a lot of things that I achieve now is just because I know better. I Anyway. All right. Did they have their own video games in the USSR? Well, Tetris was designed by the Soviet people, Soviet designer. So I don't know about own video games. Not sure. I honestly never played anything that I knew was Soviet. The very first video game I ever played was a Sega Mega Drive, and I'm not in video games at all. Unfortunately, I'm not unfortunately, but I can. People ask me a lot, do I play those games, these games? I last time I played was like 1999 or 2000. I just have no interest in that. Okay, so let's see if we can catch up here. We got North California. Hello, Sergey. You would love cowboy action shooting. Remember, if you outlaw guns, only outlaw would have guns. Um, I said I lived in the Soviet Union. I felt extremely safe. I never freaked out about going to school, and we never had drills about ducking because somebody gonna come in and shoot people. Like we literally have no guards. Like you could walk in a school. Here they just like, my God. I mean, there's a balance you can find. But it's just too easy. And specific guns, like look at Australia, they outlaw assault type rifles and they don't have a mass shooting since whatever. They still got a lot of people killing with handguns, but if somebody want to commit suicide, use handgun, sure, go ahead. I don't care. If somebody takes the assault rifle, goes to school to kill children because he has some mental problems, I have problems with that. Australia is a good example. It's kind of similar to America. Europeans came, killed the locals, took over the country, kind of frontier style, grew up with guns, but actually conservatives had balls to step up and change the law, confiscated assault rifles. Since then, they had no mass shootings. I mean, I don't know why else we have discussion about it. People still have handguns. I mean, if you want to have assault type rifles, you can follow the Second Amendment, join well-regulated militia, and have your assault rifles in special training. And if you're a professional handling those, sure, I don't care. If the chainsaw, people will be running to schools and cutting children with chainsaws, I'll be anti-chainsaw guy. And this is what it is. I'm not exactly anti-gun. It's just, it's crazy how it's easy here for anybody to buy weapons. It's harder to become a barber. You have to have 6 months of training. You pass tests. You walk in the store and you buy freaking almost like machine gun. Like, are you guys serious? Okay, how could you apply to be a soldier if you wanted to serve? You don't apply to be a soldier in Soviet Union. You get drafted automatically when you turn 18. I mean, there were some exclusions, but every guy would be serving in the military. You don't apply. You could join like a officer school, военное училище, then you can become an officer. Hello, Sergey. I'm from Lithuania. Did you have favorite leader of the USSR? I don't say, I mean, Gorbachev somewhat, I would say, because, I was a teenager when all those great changes happened. I like a little bit Khrushchev, but, he's a really kind of this person, he kind of loosened up a little bit situation in Soviet Union, then he freaked out how that it went completely wrong direction because it was so-called ottepel, like a thawing, and then he locked it back up again when he realized, like, if we don't keep these people in the shackles, they're gonna run away or just go crazy. So I need to learn more about Khrushchev. And otherwise, Gorbachev, he was brave enough to try to save the country by making changes. But then, of course, it's like you poke, there's dam that's gonna collapse. You're trying to poke a little holes to relieve the pressure, and then the whole dam just went down. Okay, what did the USSR think of the Black Panther Party? Angela Davis. Freedom to Angela Davis. We knew her really well. I'm actually planning to make a video about her. So definitely positive. Anybody who was anti-American government was shown in a positive way in the Soviet Union. Привет, Sergey. I haven't seen you talking about Vladimir Putin. How do you see the attempt of reconciling terrorism with USSR to make history ends his rule? I think one relates to Chernobyl. I made one video about that. I only can blame it on Russians. I mean, they let him, it's like when you elect somebody, it's like I said, you let the goat go into your garden. And the idea, like, he will manage the weeds, but won't touch the cabbage. Maybe he'll eat a little cabbage. We gotta feed the goat. But if you keep the goat for too long in the garden, goat thinks like, hey, it's my garden. I'm gonna do whatever I want. And that's what happened with Russia. Putin pretty much like, hey, we're gonna change, constitution now, and I'm gonna run this country because no one else can run this country, And this is the problem when people like. A while back they like, well, there's no one else can be as good as Putin, so we have to keep him as a leader, and here we are. So I first in the beginning I was happy when he became a president because Yeltsin was just embarrassment, like really. At that time I still cared about Russia that much, but then of course when we have the attacks on Ukraine, and now Russia and Ukraine can have this hybrid war, they took back Crimea. So I'm not a big fan, but it's more about like Russian government, but somehow Russian people let it happen. So, okay, you have the best USSR channel. Thank you, Jim. Appreciate your compliment. Good evening from Italy. Buongiorno. Can you do another video about coins? What could you buy with 1 ruble? I'll be making actually a video about paper money. Just trying to. I actually bought a whole bunch of the Soviet Union paper money, and actually there's another way you can guys help me to help you. I bought 100 of 25 ruble notes, and it was like a package. 100 of 10 ruble notes right there. Then I have a 100 of those. So that's all original Soviet money that we used since 1961, 3 rubles and a ruble. If you're interested, I can sell you the set of 1, 3, 5, 10, and 25 for $5.99 shipped to the United States. It will help me greatly because I only use them as a surprise for people who buy my book. So other option, you can buy my book for $15, and I will include some of this set of these rubles with it. So there's a little advertising. Okay, so now we got another $20 donation. Well, thank you so much, ActionCom. And he has a Lethal Weapon. Oh my goodness. I actually was trying to talk to my wife to watch that movie again. Lovely channel. What was day-to-day attitude towards attorneys back then? Here's everywhere, mostly specialized in accidents and taxes. We say advokat in Russian for attorney, and we didn't deal with those at all. I mean, only I guess when you get in serious trouble like criminal charges, then you need advokat. Otherwise, we didn't use them at all. Like I never knew personally anyone who would be in advokatskaya kontora. There maybe be some issues with inheritance, maybe, but otherwise, yeah, they weren't at all part of our life. Like not like here. There is no way would somebody will sue the factory or government. It's like unheard of. So definitely, I mean, there's some benefits when everything owned by government and when you have no profit, but also there's a lot of negative things that come with it. So if you find a nice balance, but okay, moving along. My East German friend from Leipzig, actually, my grandfather, late grandfather, he was prisoner of war around Leipzig. Mentioned mocking his teacher during citizenship lessons in 1984. What punishment would 14-year-old Soviet face for clowning during a lesson of about being a good Soviet citizen? Probably the worst will be they will call your parents to school and then your parents will whoop your ass with a belt. And then they maybe will supply some papers to look in the family because it's probably coming from the parents because the kid would never say anything like that if he heard it somewhere. So there may be some repercussions for the family, less than a kid, more than the family. If that was just a kid saying something stupid, these parents probably just will slap him good. But otherwise, they might do that. All right. Hey, by the way, there was a reminder, I forgot. So we get then right now we have 95 people watching. It's only 48 likes. So if you put the like, I appreciate it too because it helps the video move up. Although I have a feeling like in my situation, there's something like a glass ceiling. Like no matter what good topic of the video I'm gonna make, it's just like it doesn't let it go up. Just views are not there. And some people complain they constantly getting unsubscribed from my channel. So I'm not sure what's going on, but it's definitely kind of upsetting that you try to provide quality information based on my own experience. Then I talk to my friends who live in Soviet Union, like, hey, ask your parents about this or about that, so we can get you real information, not just something you find in Wikipedia. But yeah, it's like this. I feel like it's like in a glass jar, and it just YouTube keeps the lid on it, doesn't let channel grow. Where do you align yourself politically? I'm consider myself libertarian, left-leaning libertarian. If it makes any sense. Do you go to any football matches in the Soviet Union? No, I never went to. Maybe one, don't remember. I like to watch it on TV because they repeat. And when you sit far away, you can see real well. I went to one hockey game, I think. That's about it. Wasn't huge on sports. I mean, my dad was, but not me. How common was condensed milk in the USSR? Did you eat it as a dessert? Oh, it was very popular. They actually even had a cake. You boil the can of condensed milk, you actually put the can in the water and you boil it. It's make it even thicker, and then you apply it on a cake. I used it as a creamer a lot for my coffee. So yeah, condensed milk was a very popular stuff in Soviet Union. We didn't have any flavors like now they make like a coffee flavor, caramel flavor, condensed milk. That would be fun to try, but yeah, that was really popular. I don't know if I ate it by spoon. Usually I would add to my coffee, to my instant coffee. I want to make sure you guys know that. Did you always want to come to USA, or was it a good opportunity at the time? What do you think you'll be doing now if you're going to come to USA and meet your wife? I end up here totally by accident. I'll put it this way. I was interested always in America. That's why, but I was learning English so I can get a good job in the Soviet Union when foreign companies come in. Then this opportunity came to work here on exchange program, and I just decided, well, I'll be going here, make money, because at that time I was making $20 a month as an engineer in Kiev, and here they paid me $110 a week to watch, to work as a photography specialist to watch the kids at the pool. So I decided I'll be just coming on exchange program, making money, saving it so I can buy apartment, car, get married. And then over the years, I think on my third time, I realized that like I don't like being in Ukraine anymore. I felt like I have people. It's like I was saying, I discovered I have more gears in my gearbox, but I go back to Ukraine and I'm back to first gear and I can't go fast. All I can make is $50 a month. No one cares that I speak fluent English. And here in America, everyone wants me to work. There's jobs. So I kind of was like looking at how to find a way to stay here, but I couldn't. So I was actually planning to go to Canada, but then I had a blind date and ended up getting stuck here in Michigan. Yes, I'm drinking water, not vodka. No, it will be a little bit irresponsible for me. How come I was to buy on the black market? It was more popular items. A lot of it was like clothing, mostly. Like if you want to get a pair of Levi's jeans, you couldn't get it. Perfumes from France. So there's people who had, if they had extra money and they really wanted to, they could buy that stuff. So I personally, I don't think I bought anything. Then of course there would be trades and like LPs, Iron Maiden or whatever that you couldn't buy. So there was quite a bit of black market, but it wasn't like people standing on the street and selling it. It was like, hey, I know the guy who sells this, or I know the guy who sells that. You should watch that Netflix show Farza. It shows black market awesomely. James again, James Johns, thank you so much. Is there any food you had back in the USSR that you can't find right now? Also, what brand of vodka was most common? I had a video, like one of my first videos when I made it to Ushanka Show, that I talked about different brands. It wasn't like really, I mean, there were, you can call it brands, but there's just, one was crappy vodka, one was a little bit more expensive and better tasting. So like Russian vodka, Ruska, was kind of had a lot of bad flavor, like wasn't distilled more than once. Stolichna was a better tasting vodka, so that's pretty much, I'd say maybe 5 brands I can think of: Moskovskaya, Stolichna, Ruskaya, and then there were some like this vodka drinks. There were less percentage and had some flavorings to it, but the main one I could think of would be Ruskaya, Stolichная, Pшеничная, wheat vodka, Pшеничная, Stolichная, Stoli, Moskovskaya, Moscow vodka. What else I was saying? So I think it was maybe Ukrainian too, but not much. I mean, as long as you buy vodka, it's, a little bit. But if you look at my videos, if you go way on the bottom of the channel, the thing, the second or third video I make, it was about vodka. But all right. Moving a lot. You make good videos and YouTube not good about paying. Yeah, it is what it is. I would like to read your book. I'll have to check it out. Sure, you can download an ebook from Amazon, buy it there, or you can buy it on Amazon. If you live in America, you can buy it from me, because shipping out of state is crazy. I just shipped the book to Canada, and it was like $36 just to ship the book. It was crazy expensive. But otherwise, if you want a signed book and if you live in the United States, I'll send it to you signed, and then I'll throw some Russian rubles with it. So send me email at sergeysputnikov@gmail.com. Who are some YouTubers that you enjoy watching? I really like, right now I'm watching the Demoro Live, the guy mechanic from Detroit who takes apart Tesla, because I'm kind of interested in Tesla. Otherwise, I'm just, I don't have anything specific I'm watching. A lot of times people ask me if I watch Life of Boris. planning to make a video on that topic, but I was like, why? Why would I watch stuff like that? So I don't really have any specific channels that I like follow and watch. Is more I watch a little politics here and there, but nothing in specific that I'm like hardcore fan of any YouTube channel. I'm kind of thinking I'm more about creating content than consuming content. Especially, while my memory is still pretty decent, so I would like to put it, in the stories before I start forgetting. During the breakup of the USSR, how was the Privet ownership of land sorted out? It was never sorted out private, not Privet. Like, I think only now in Ukraine, and we're talking about how long ago Soviet Union collapsed, 91, was it 30 years now, right? Like you can rent land, but you can't own the land. There was no private ownership. I think Russia is similar way. So no, they never did anything about it. I can't find the person that said they should keep guns to stay safe from the government, but I agree with them. I mean, it's the people you elect to the government. It's the whole idea of election. You elect people that you trust. This whole concept that people like, well, I don't trust my government, so I need to have a gun. The government have drones. What are you gonna do with your 22? They're just gonna send one hellfire and you're done. Like that concept of protecting yourself from government might be 1800s, but right now with modern technologies, it's just a joke. It's just excuse. There's another one. Stalin killed millions, Mao killed millions, Hitler killed millions. The first step was disarm them. Well, if you look at the revolution in Russia, Russia had arms. You can purchase arms freely, and Stalin still managed to take over the country. Like revolution happened, even people were armed, but they went after, if you call good government and get rid of them. So I don't know. This topic, as I said, I don't subscribe to this view that America is doing great only because everyone is armed to the teeth. We lose 30,000 people a year because we got so many guns. I mean, Japan has guns outlawed. I don't remember anyone attacking Japanese government, attacking its own citizens. Just be real. Have you seen that Russia is still trying to expand its borders? Well, now they try and work the Belarus back in. I mean, they shrink their borders in the east with China. They give up territories there, but then they rent giant chunks of land, like lease giant chunks of land to Chinese, but then they go, after eastern Ukraine, and then now they have a pushing on Belarus to join Russia. So yeah, they definitely, then they kind of giving a hard time to Baltic states. Hello, I really like your money related videos. Did you ever come in contact with counterfeit coins and banknotes? Coins didn't make sense to make them fake. It was just not worth it. But there's some people who were doing fake paper money. I personally never had any issues, but I read some stories, of course, later because they were never public. But there were some people that did really good job making fake rubles. I don't think I ever said thank you to Keith White. He donated £2. It's amazing. The world is such a small place. We got donations coming from Britain in pounds. We have donations coming from United States. Okay. Keep on going. Do you think the dissolution of the USSR was a legal act put in motion by CIA? I heard about it. I don't think so. I lived in Soviet Union. I could tell there was a sick system. Like we all were sick and tired of pretty much having this fake life when on TV and in newspapers and radio is one thing and in life is another thing. Like everyone was tired of pretending like we're gonna build communism or we care about socialism. Like really, especially the young generation, we just wanted to have nice clothes and have nice cars, and we didn't care that we need to be a beacon of socialism all over the world. Like people were done with that propaganda stuff. So I see it was a natural way. And if you look, even before Gorbachev, like Andropov, I mean, he tried hardcore to turn, like, do the Stalin way to get the, country back, like, into, uh, like, running by the sword, and, nothing happened. So, the country already had problems before that. Do you know the channel NFR Crazy? I am familiar with him as a Russian guy from Moscow, but once again, he can tell you good stories about modern Russia, but he's very young, so I don't think he could tell you anything like witness accounts of life in Soviet Union, except if you like talk to his parents or somebody. But he I don't know when he was born, but he's definitely way too young to know a lot personally about Soviet Union. Have you ever thought about making a cooking video? I mean, I personally don't cook, but I'm trying to convince my wife to have a series because I said she's really good cook and she does, she cooks borscht for me and other stuff, cutlets, but she's good about utilizing American ingredients and making shortcuts to make good soups and stuff. So yeah, I'm trying to convince her, but for some reason she is can work on it. All right, keep on going. Do your children speak Russian? No, unfortunately, I tried with my older daughter, but if both parents don't work together, it's really hard. So I give up. So they know a little bit, a couple Russian words, but unfortunately not. We got some people started talking back and forth here on the channel, so sure you can discuss. Thank you for content, White Elephant. Thank you for joining our live. We got already over 100 people, so let's do 100 likes, guys. How about if you didn't click like yet, please hit like. It will be 92. And by the way, I don't know if you're familiar or not, if you subscribe to my channel, you also can have this little bell that notifies you that some new video come out or went live, because sometimes people complain, hey, I didn't know you're doing live. And I wasn't sure if I'll be able to do live today because my wife had a lot of plans about cleaning. Oh, wow, 105 right away. Thank you. So this like last minute, like we're done with chores. It's like, you know what? It's raining outside. I'll do quickly live. So sometimes I could pre-plan it, but quite often it doesn't work that way. Was it difficult for you to learn English when you left Ukraine? Well, I learned English in Ukraine already, so I couldn't get out to America because that exchange program was you had to speak pretty fluent English. If you read my book, I explained there in detail how I worked this interview with Americans. Actually, I've been interviewed by American to get this company still exists called Camp Counselors USA. So they hire people from all over the world to work in the summer camps. So yeah, I wasn't easy, and another problem, like if you study language by a book, it's like you learn how to drive manual stick transmission by the book, but then they put you in a car and good luck driving it. Like the theory, but you don't know how to switch and you don't know when exactly. So first couple of months was very challenging for me here in America because like I knew the words, but it's always really complicated. Plus, I was in a camp for Southside kids from Southside Chicago, which is ghetto, so they speak the Ebonic, different English. I couldn't filter out, like for a while I couldn't understand what they're talking about, and I was horrified at my English so bad. But in fact, it's just you need to have an ear for how they speak. Question about coins. During the Soviet Union, you could buy silver and gold coins. We had this collector's market on the weekends, like at least in Kiev. You can go there and you can purchase coins. And I wish my parents listened to me and we pulled the money out of the Soviet savings bank and buy those coins because my parents lost 5,000 rubles. If we'll buy those coins, they will save them. So yeah, you can buy those coins right now on eBay. There's tons. Actually, a while back, when I go to Ukraine, I'll go to that market and I buy wholesale, I offer a guy lower price, but like, hey, I'll buy like 10 of these coins for so much, get a good discount, and I'll resell them on eBay here in America. Is buckwheat like oats? I don't know. You can say it's oats. It's somewhat his specific flavor. If you never tried it, you might never like it. Okay, we got another donation from Socialist. Now look at this. This is impressive. Socialist donates money. So most people just being communists, they just watch for free. But I appreciate your donation. Thank you so much. Are you familiar with COINTELPRO, the FBI program to destroy leftist organizations in the US? Never heard about it, but I know, like, Communist Party was never outlawed in Soviet Union, right? They might give them hard time, but it never was outlawed. In Soviet Union, every party was outlawed except Communist Party. Yeah, if you want to purchase my book, Sergey Sputnikov at gmail.com. Information is, if you click on my channel, there's a about me part, and send me email. If you live in America, it'll be easy. I won't be surprised knowing that America was always not a big fan of Soviet Union except during the World War II. So I never heard of it, but I won't be surprised. Where are the most beautiful women, Ukraine or Russia? That's a tough one. I would say Ukrainians, but the Russians maybe wouldn't agree. Got somebody like that is a good going chat. So yeah, if you guys want to answer questions, somebody I'm not catching up, sure, you're welcome to answer other comrades. And because it's quite a challenge to have this YouTube channel because the topic of the Soviet Union attracts people from the far left, people from the far right. Of course, fortunately, there's quite a few in the middle. But I had there's some people got so pissed at me when I made a video about guns and I said I'm a hardcore gun control guy, that someone went on Amazon and put negative feedback on my book without even buying it because they were so pissed. It's like, I have my opinion. If you live in a country and you enjoy freedom, you should respect my freedom of choice. And if, there's a lot of things I don't like that people have opinion. There's people who love Trump. It doesn't mean that I gotta go and post something on their book that because he likes Trump, I need to hurt him somewhat. So it's challenging. I got so much, I once in a while I post those comments from people. It's like I'm getting slammed from the left that I'm a capitalistic bastard, and I get slammed from the right that I'm all I want is the Soviet Union, and it's tough one. I can tell you that. It's a lot of fun. Okay, so I'm trying. Why did you want to go to Canada over the USA? Because Canada accepts people. They have a system of legal immigration. The United States don't have anything. I mean, if I will be a supermodel and it's considered special skill, you can get a visa like Melania Klaus. Now she's Trump. She got a green card here in America. Like, okay, she's pretty, so she can get a green card and remain in America. But otherwise, there's no way. Canada, if you speak good English, there's a whole system of points. You can get enough points to get to Canada. So that was the only way I saw. I actually applied to Canadian Embassy, but they wanted to have you like $7,000 in your bank account. They were talking like mid of 1990s. So yeah, that was if I want to have a blind date here in Michigan, I'll be right now somewhere in Canada. I don't know what I'll be doing there, but I'll be in Canada because I don't want to live in Ukraine anymore. It's like I found out like, hey, I have a way more better opportunities on this side of the pond. Okay. Catching up with my earlier comments, I said, unfortunately, I can't go that fast. Uh, tu- tu- tu. Sorry about that, just a little delay. I'm trying to see where I was. Okay, we got buckwheat, moving along. Okay, so I found. Yeah, as I said, once again, who just joined, if you're interested in Russian cuisine, and I would love to see you guys making the little videos I'll post on my channel. I will promote your channel if you want to try anything out of this wild book. Um, Send me email. I can send you some of these recipes if you're brave enough to cook some brains. Um, sure. If you have some carp living in the lake next to you, we can crayfish soup Moscow style. So yeah, there's a. You can if you have somebody farmer who raise pigs, you can borrow the pig stomach and stuff it with potatoes and cook pig stomach with potato stuffing. You need 15 medium potatoes, 2 cups of milk, 2 medium onions minced, 3 tablespoons of butter, 3/4 pound bacon, 1 pig stomach, some bay leaves and ground pepper, and salt. It's funny to put diced salt, so it's beautiful. So they tell you how to prepare potatoes. Then carefully wash and dry stomach. Stuff it and stitch it closed. Then you place it on roasting pan, add a little butter, and roast it at 350 degrees for about 1 hour. How about we're gonna make some stuffed beef tongue? I don't know how you can jam stuff inside of the tongue, but it's crazy. So yeah, awesome book. This is some good stuff. So if you want any recipes, I can guys send you via email if you don't find it. Maybe it's book available to just kind of look at the recipes. Okay, we are over an hour, so we'll be wrapping up pretty soon. But see, I got 10-pound donation. Thank you so much, Joseph. Have you been in that World War II museum in Kiev? Yes, actually, me and my son went there a couple of years ago, and I took him to museum. And I went to that museum many years ago, right after it opened, like in early 80s. I never had a chance to go up in the statue. Unfortunately, the elevator wasn't working. But it didn't change much in Soviet times, besides they added a little bit about war in Donbass area. But otherwise, they didn't change much. It's still like very Soviet because there's totally nothing about Western Ukraine and what was going on there when the nationalists were fighting Germans. So yeah, it's I've been in there. So thank you for your donation. I appreciate it so much. Okay, so we're moving along. I answered about cooking. James, you are killing me. We got another $5 donation from James. Just going to throw this fun fact about lives lost in World War II for some of the countries involved. USA 416, UK 383, USSR 10 million. Now that's a lot. Actually, James, not fun fact, Russia recently, I say admitted, they say the total loss of the Soviet population is 49 million people. And that's civilian and soldier military personnel. Total losses 49 million. And it's, I don't know what kind of formula, but it's way more. We went from 10 million, I think, then later than made it in 80s, the 20 million was the number, and it was growing from there. I mean, that was just big giant meat grinder, and German meat grinders just got choked on the Soviet meat. And yeah, that was a horrible war. Okay, let's see. Coins, buckwheat, I think we talked about that. Are you a good chef? No, I'm horrible about cooking, and I can explain you really easily. when I'm not hungry, I'm not interested in cooking because I'm not hungry. When I'm hungry, I'm not interested in cooking because I want to eat right now. I can't cook because I'm hungry. So no, but my wife loves cooking, so we got great um, team here. She just, that's her uh, happy situation when she just cooks away and it makes her happy. Uh, are you sometimes sad that Soviet Union is no more? No, it's, it's like if the 90-year-old person dies, it's just natural, right? So it's not really, I mean, it's sad, but it's not like if the young teenager dies in an accident, of course you're very sad because he had all life ahead of him. Soviet Union, my personal opinion, ran its cycle. It went through all the stages and it just was just natural way it collapsed. There was no other way around it. It's like if you look at all the empires in the world, Spain, Britain, now United States, it just runs that cycle, and at times when it's not going to be empire anymore. Same with the Soviet Union. Okay, what is your opinion of Rasputin? Yeah, that's another example like how horrible situation was in Russia before the revolution. Because when you let the guy was pretty much managing through the Tsar and Tsaritsa of the country, I think it was horrible. So yeah, that's just another example how bad it was. Have you ever watched YouTube channel Creole Sun? Nope, never heard of it. Were potatoes much on the menu? Yeah, meat and potatoes. Yeah, potatoes, fried potatoes, mashed potatoes. Yeah, potatoes, because it's cheap and it's a high calorie food, so it was very popular. Macaroni, like some. Yeah, I'm very basic. Like my choices of food is quite basics. And Google was developed by a Russian guy too. Well, not Russian. He is Jewish family, but he is Sergey, same name as me, Sergey Brin. He's a co-founder with Google. There's another guy, an American, and it was actually uh, Pentagon, I think, hired them to design some search system for their files, and then that's how they come up with Google. No, it's not Sobieski vodka, it's regular water. I'm not that irresponsible. I'll be all over the place, probably kissing the screen and everything else if I had vodka. So we was trying to stay cool here. Somebody correct me that handguns are banned in Australia. I didn't know that. That's interesting. Uh, do you think Russians really accept the newest officerate by Putin? Or might they do their own Maidan protests? I mean, they had some protests, but Putin is really good about, he controls media hardcore. He controls like their party pretty much like a communist party, that Единая Россия, United Russia. I mean, he got stuff locked up pretty good, but it's, sooner or later, people will get sick and tired of him. But, he spent 20 years securing it, but it's just, especially now with oil prices and this coronavirus all combined, it's pretty ugly. Okay, I'm working through your comments and I see a lot of people talking. Somebody agrees that Gorbachev was the best. He had the right idea. It's interesting. I'll be interested to find the truth because in the beginning Gorbachev was like saying he was trying to fix Soviet Union, and later he's like, no, I actually always hated communism and I did it on purpose. I don't think he did it on purpose. He truly tried because if you think about it, if you're familiar with NAP, a new economic policy that Lenin introduced way back in 20s, and that's when they tried like military communism, and things really didn't go really well. It was uprisings, it was just horrible situation. So he like, okay, we need to back off. And they introduced like you can have a little factory, you can do a little this and that, you can be a little capitalist. That's new economic policy, NAP. And it lasted for quite a few years, and actually kind of like country rebounded. There is still a lot of foods. Of course, then suddenly we have rich people again, nap money, so-called nap man. And then Stalin came, when he came to power, he cut it off. China did nap, right? If you think about it, they introduced kind of like this uh, government controlled capitalism society in China. So they managed to avoid collapse as the Soviet Union did. Gorbachev kind of tried to do the same. I'm planning to make some videos about his attempts to perestroika, rebuilding of the country. And ускорение, also there's another term, was speeding up. So we're going to rebuild the economy and speed it up. And he wanted to like, okay, you can have a little enterprise. You can't hire anybody, but you can have a little, side business. So if you're a student and you're good with English, you can teach English and make money. It's okay now. Or you can, if you're good with fixing stuff, you can, install electricity, different switches, and it's okay. But you can't hire people to do it. But it just kind of went out of control, and China is kind of more unified countries. Like one China, there's not a bunch of republics with totally different populations. So I think it was easier for them. All right, we're moving along. Got 120 likes. Thank you so much, guys, for your likes and for your support. We got $70. Thank you for your generosity. Okay. You need to read the Federalist Papers on Founding Fathers' views on the citizens owning guns. Probably do. Those Federalist Papers were written probably in 1800s and talking about muskets, not the semi-automatic weapons. And I am a big fan of the Second Amendment that says well-regulated militia cannot infringe their right to own guns. So join well-regulated militia, and if you're people from well-regulated militia, you can own guns. I don't care. So I'm hardcore fan of Second Amendment. I'm reading it word for word. Crimea is Russian, correct? Not really. Depending on how far back you look, it used to be Greek. It used to be part of Turkey Empire. It used to be under Tatars. It used to be part of Russia. It used to be part of Russia and the Soviet Union. Then it used to be part of Ukraine and the Soviet Union. Then it was Ukrainian for a while. Viking says, great channel. Keep up great work. Thank you. What can you buy for 1 ruble in today's Russia? I don't know. It's definitely not much, because $1 I think is like 80 rubles. During the Soviet Union, official rate was 60 kopecks for $1. So you can buy quite a few things in 1 ruble. You can check my videos about coins, like what you can buy for 1 kopek or 2 kopecks. There's actually quite a list of items you could buy. I don't know what buying power the ruble right now in Russia, honestly. I don't think as much, because like minimum, I think wage is like 10,000 rubles a month. Do your kids have any American traits, behaviors that drives your old war Ukrainian mentality crazy? I don't know if it's American or not, but like they don't close doors behind. Like they go on the, like a pantry to get some food and leave that door open. Or they get something out of the cupboard, they leave the door open. Leave the lights on. It took me for a long time to get my kids to turn the lights off. Or general Americans, like a lot of them walk in the house and they never take shoes off. It took me a long time to make my family like, hey, you need to take shoes off. But it's still, you have some people come and they like just walk in the living room with shoes on the carpet. They're like, what the hell is wrong with you? So yeah. Okay, there's people keep on asking me for a video about relations between Poland and Soviet Union. It's on my list. I think I'm thinking about doing Poland. Yeah, Poland will be next. That's a good topic to talk about. How commonplace was the Soviet state emblem, and what do you think about it? If you're talking about the symbol of the USSR, I mean, I think it was always look cool. But I mean, it just was too much. It looked like a part of the decoration that you just get used to it, and you just don't pay attention anymore. How did you get your book published? It's a self-publish. I wrote it. I have people help me with formatting it and checking it out. And then with Amazon, it's super easy right now. Wait, there was inheritance. Of course, if your grandma wanted some stuff, you'll get it as a, or if your mother, like you can get the right to live in the same apartment. You won't inherit apartment because it's government owned, but you can live it there. When you lived in Soviet Union during Gorbachev, could you make a fun of him? I mean, it was definitely safer to make fun of the Gorbachev than before because you can get in serious trouble. I mean, during the Stalin regime, there's a stories about people actually getting 5 years in prison or 10 years for jokes about Stalin. During the Gorbachev, there was a lot of jokes, a lot of about that he spat on the head that looks like bird poop on him, and of course, because he was bringing his wife everywhere, that was unusual. So there was a lot of jokes about it. So no, not really. But still, like when I came to America and I saw you guys cartoons here, how you make fun of the presidents, I was horrified because like, oh my God. I mean, I understand people in private making jokes about their leaders, but if it's on the pages of newspaper, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. They will arrest everyone that newspapers and give them free ticket, one-way ticket to Siberia for that. Holy crap. Okay, we get to the 100 likes already. Yep, thank you. Angela Davis was a Communist Party running mate. No kidding, I don't know about that, but I know she was in jail and we were demanding her release. Keep on going. How was important literature in the end of USSR? Was it prestigious to be a writer in the 80s and 90s? I mean, we were reading a lot. You know, when you don't have entertainment, like there's nothing to watch on TV, people were reading a lot of books and newspapers. I mean, it changed overnight when you started having all this entertainment on TV, unfortunately. So books were always in high demand and everyone was reading, most people. I don't know about prestigious to be a writer because, you know, if you're a writer in Soviet Union, you're making deal with the devil, right? Because government was hardcore monitoring what was written. You can get in serious troubles like Solzhenitsyn, and a lot of writers end up in jail or being exiled because they wrote what they wanted to write, not what the government wanted to write. So I don't know about being prestigious. I mean, you can be like doing really well if you write what the government wants you to write. Juan Novello, hello from Buenos Aires. Greetings. Thanks for Sobieski recommendation. I've had a bottle in the house so far and it's great. You're welcome. De nada. I'm surprised they have Sobieski vodka in Argentina. That's impressive. That's awesome. If you are considered news YouTube, they trying to push you out. No, I don't know. I put that I'm a educational channel, but it's definitely it's just kind of weird. You know, I know the topics are interesting. I see somebody else made the same video and have millions of views. I'm getting like 10,000 and it's dead as a doornail. I was like, I'm not sure what the heck. But you know, a lot of YouTube depends on recommendations. That's the sad part. Like I have what 46,000 subscribers, and I don't know why people subscribe if they don't watch channel at all. Like I make a video and it has a 5,000 views, 10,000 views, 46,000 subscribers. Like you expect maybe 50% will watch the video. You know, why would you subscribe to the channel if you don't watch it? I don't understand that. So this is kind of always magic for me. Usually 10% of people will watch your videos who subscribe to you, and then they show you out of all the views on your video, 46% were people who not subscribed. So it's like, okay, so there's even less people subscribers watching. I mean, I see by the comments, I mean, there's a group of hardcore fans, I would say, that watch, they comment, we interact. But otherwise, like, I don't know why people subscribe and watch, honestly. I wish I had YouTube offered this system of removing subscribers. For example, if somebody didn't watch my videos for a year, I will be more than happy to say goodbye. Like, I don't see why you need to be subscribed to me if you don't watch like for a year, not a single video. Like, it means definitely you have no interest. I would like to just, you know, please don't cry, just say goodbye. And then I see the real subscribers, because this is crazy. 46,000 subscribers, video gets 5,000 views, sometimes even less. I don't do any clickbaits. My videos are long and boring, but still, people subscribe, and I was like, why? If you don't watch it. Okay. Predabot wondering what does it mean left-leaning libertarian. It's like a cursing in church. I honestly can't explain you, but I'm hardcore again anti-war person. So for me, it's what main deal. I would like to just America spend less on wars and pay more attention to their own people, the problems in the country. And then in some ways, I would like government being less involved. But then knowing about the weak spots of capitalism, there's some controls need to be, because like monopolies being created because capitalism hates competition. They say competition is a great thing, but at the same time, every company hates competition because it's competition reduces your profit. So yeah, I'm a confused libertarian, let's put it that way. In Soviet Ukraine, thank you, Joseph, for your donation, £5. In Soviet Ukraine, could you get Fiat or FSO of Lada if it's possible to get them at time? There was no foreign cars available, period, in Soviet Union. There's, I think, Vysotsky, the singer, famous singer, performer, he was the very first person in Soviet Union who could get Mercedes car, but otherwise your only options were Soviet cars. They didn't let any foreign cars come in till the late 80s. So that's why everyone was Soviet Ladas were in such a high demand, because we had no choice. I appreciate your donation. Thank you so much. We might get to $100 today, but I don't know. Everyone right now is on a tight budget, so thank you for stream. Stay safe. What do you think about Turkmenia? I don't know a lot of information about Turkmenia, what's going on right now. It's kind of like one man, all those southern republics, Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, all the stans, they just became like one person, dictatorships. It's crazy how out of the socialism, they just rolled gently into dictatorships. I mean, Russia not far behind. At least Ukraine, Belarus also, right? Out of all the republics, former Soviet republics, is pretty much Baltic states look like normal elected democracy type, and Ukraine, and then Moldova, right? The other ones is just like they just roll into dictatorship, and relatives own the whole country. It's bad. But I'm not sure what's going on currently in Turkmenia. I completely fell off my radar. I know. Did you experience empty stores in the 80s? Of course, it depends where you lived. Like I live in Kiev, and Kiev wasn't that bad. But like you go to the village, we only had bread 3 times a week available. So yes, I experienced quite a bit. Okay, we have a $5 donation from Buff Del Campo. Thank you. I'm subscribed and I watch all your videos. Thank you. I appreciate it. Glad to hear it. Because sometimes I have people asking questions like, my goodness, we got a lot of it already covered. And actually, I think if you go on my front page of YouTube channel, there is a like search glass, right? A magnifying glass, and you can search just my channel. So if you have a question and I didn't answer or something like that, you might want to just click there, enter it like vodka or sex, and there's a videos on these topics already on YouTube because I have over 200 videos made. So quite often people asking me questions and I'm just sending them links. So the easiest way to find information is just to look up on the channel, and then if you don't see the answer, you can ask. Okay, see if we can catch up. Fortunately, YouTube, this chat kind of throw me back and forth, so I'm keep on losing where I was. Okay. A lot of questions about drugs in Soviet Union, and I said I probably will make a video, but honestly, like not none of my friends. I think there was some weed. Um, there were some drugs down south, like in the Stan countries, republics, but we were drinking. I mean, that was the main entertainment. Just alcohol was. So I never heard anything like heroin, cocaine. It was just news from America. I think some elites, like actors and whatever, they use some morphine. I know Vysotsky was doing it supposedly, but yeah. There's another classic questions. I'm actually planning to make a video about life of Boris, okay? Because it's very important to explain to some people. If you understand the guy just entertainer, right? If you understand it, it's pretty much life of Boris. It's your World Wrestling Federation of Gopniks, okay? There's nothing or very little real stuff there. Just understand that. It's a World Wrestling Federation of Gopniks. I personally never met a Gopnik in my life. I never seen, somewhere maybe in some work towns when the youth had nothing else to do, but like even this theory how to properly squat, never heard of it. I lived in Soviet Union for 20 years. I never heard this stuff. You know what I mean? And I gotta make a video about it because I'm getting a little bit frustrated. But like if you want to hang out with your friends, okay, and you maybe those hooligans, we call them hooligans, we never call them gopniki. Usually people go to the park. Where's the bench? They sit on the bench, they bring vodka, some snacks, guitar, play music, eat sunflower seeds, hang out, stuff like that. So won't be like people squatting on the streets. I never seen anything like that. So when this question, have you seen gopniks? Or you were a gopnik? Did you have a gopnik? So I was like, you should understand what this guy did. I don't think his name was Boris, right? I believe somebody told me he's a young dude from Baltic states. So he tells you stuff about Russia, like Slavs. We never called each other Slavs. Like Slavianin, it was just like, yeah, it's Slavic nations, Ukrainians, Russians, Belarusians, but that was like, what's up, Slavian, Slav? This is all like subculture that he kind of built it big, but it's like a balloon. He just blew it, and it's like people like, wow, it's entertaining, no doubt about that. But there's even think about it. Life of Boris. First of all, it's Boris, not Boris. We don't say Boris, it's Boris. And Boris is not really Russian name. Like among my friends, not a single Boris. Boris was popular maybe in 50s, 60s, and among the Jewish people. In the Soviet Union, Jewish people pick the names for their children based on the original Jewish. There's some kind of like religious Jewish name, right? So they'll pick the name that has that relevance. So for example, Mikhail, Misha was very popular among Jews because it's like Moisha, right? Moisha, but you don't want to call him Moisha because he'll be harassed in the Soviet Union because that was like so Jewish. There were a lot of jokes. So he'll be Mikhail, Misha. And a lot of Jewish people had Boris. Boris Pasternak, Jewish. Boris Nemtsov, Jewish. Boris Grebenshchikov, Jewish. So any Borises I knew, they were Jewish people. They weren't even Russian. And the Jewish people are not gopniks. So even the name of the channel is done really good for Americans who know Boris and Natasha cartoon. I think it's why he picked the name. Like he's a good entertainer. But Boris is not a Russian name, and it's Boris. The whole thing is just this. And then people ask me if I watch the guy. I was like, why? He's from Baltic states, young kid telling you about Russians and Slavs. It's like, picture Mexican guy will be making videos about Americans. Let me show you cowboy Yanks, how they ride the cowboy, put the cowboy boots on. Look at those Yanks. If you tell American down in Texas he's Yank, you can get your ass kicked, right? So Anyways, got distracted, but we got Irrational Bull. We got $5 donation. Thank you, and see what your question is. You mentioned being mortified about cartoons TV making fun of president. Did you secretly think it was cool or you were scared for your life? Well, I wasn't making that fun. It's just I grew up understanding there's several specific things you don't say in public. And like you can talk about with your friends and your family making jokes about Gorbachev or Brezhnev. You don't say it in public in school. You can get in serious trouble. And in newspapers is like next level. It was always, butt kissing our leaders. So when I saw this like, Clinton and then Bush, and they make these ugly cartoons on them as Monica Lewinsky jokes. And I was like, oh my God, if something like that happened in Soviet Union, like this Monica Lewinsky, the girl will just disappear and it'll be quiet and like just the whole thing was just like when you see somebody doing something really stupid, you're horrified because you picture if you do that, like you'll die. So I wasn't scared for myself, but just I couldn't process it, like to see how Americans making fun of their leaders. Like, and now I just like, this is awesome because you elect the guy. He is working for you. You are actually his boss. So why not? If he did something stupid, then sure, make fun of him. I think it's a great control of the government is by freedom of speech. All right, and then we got an Bob Del Campo, another $5. Thank you so much. Do you remember music by Joanna Stingray? I don't really remember the music, but I remember her. She was a big deal. I think she was dating some kind of singer or somebody in Russia. Don't remember who, but she was huge in Moscow, like what, late 90s. And she actually had this promotion, Один день with Stingray, like, hey, if you win this competition, you spend one day with Joanna Stingray. I think she was like a rock girl, right? Playing rock music. I never was a rock person that time. I was all disco, I mean, embarrassing, Milli Vanilli. So anyway, so yeah, I remember her name. I think she made some song by Kino, some popular Soviet songs she performed. It was cool. So I remember her, but like it was a long time ago. But yes, I don't know about her music, but I remember her being there. All right. We talk about weed. What does Ushanka means? If you watch my very first video on the channel, that's where I explained what Ushanka. Ushanka is what some people call babushka hats. Those fur hats with the flaps. It's the official name is Ushanka. And what does the Russian sentence mean? You always say in the beginning of the video is I'm just saying it in Russian and English. I'm saying hello, comrades. Здравствуйте, дорогие товарищи. Trying to whoever is interested to help them to learn some Russian. And also, what I notice if I say that in Russian, I'll stop all the stupid comments when people say he's fake American, that he's just faking that he's Russian, because they hear me saying in perfect Russian, almost perfect because I'm Ukrainian. If I say "Здравствуйте, дорогие товарищи" without accent, then the comments about, oh, he's a faker because he's using English too good and Russian is not. Then those comments stopped right away after I started saying "Дорогие товарищи." I live in Detroit. Well, stay safe in Detroit. I live on the southwest side by Chicago. Any of your friends from your youth in the Soviet Union moved to the United States? Yes, in fact, several. I have a girl from my class, but she was Jewish, so she moved way before I did. At least one of my teachers, the teacher of English, she moved also before me. My guy that we were good friends together, we learned English. He actually discovered about this exchange program. Alex, I explained in my book. He was actually the guy who found about this program. So he right now lives in Minnesota. I came in 95, he came in 96. So, and then another guy from my class came to America, but he lived in Belarus at that time. So at least 4 people from my class right now in the United States, and then some people I knew. Like actually, a girl I used to date for a little bit back in Kiev. I got a message from her several years ago. She found me, and she's like, "Hey, I'm in America too now." She married a U.S. Navy guy and moved to America, so she's somewhere in Florida. There's a comments about getting weird advertising while watching my video. Yeah, I don't have a choice what's coming up. And I say, if you want to support my channel, you can skip those videos and then you can, launch the watching again and do something else and let it play if you want to do that way. I hope there's YouTube right now send me a message that I'm qualified to have a membership. Those buttons you see on some channels says join. I'm not sure how many people would be interested in doing that, but I would like eventually just to remove the whole monetization, this annoying advertising. Um, if we have enough support through membership, then we just get rid of advertising whatsoever, just do membership. But I spend a lot of time, and then I have a guy who helping me with videos, and I would like to pay him for his job. So, and I said, the only way right now is through the uh, advertising. There was a question, can I whistle? Of course, it's just I don't whistle in the house. It's for bad luck. So I don't whistle in the house, but I can do this style and this style, but no whistle in the house. Bad, bad, bad. Okay, we are almost at the $100 donations, and we are close to 2 hours. So we'll do 2 hours today. If you guys can support me, we'll make $100. It'll be great. And let's see. And there's again question about Gopniks wearing Adidas. Yes, Adidas. I don't know why, but maybe it was just the only foreign brand accessible at that time, like because it's European, right? But Adidas was like the thing to have. So the Adidas Three Poloski, there's one that had the song Adidas Three Stripes. But later Reebok shoes became super popular in the like end of 80s. The coolest shoes were Reeboks. It was like $100, it was so expensive, but I said Adidas, like I'm not Adidas fan anymore, but in my, if you look, it just happened that way. Sure enough, it's Adidas shirt right there. And actually this a fake Adidas, not fake, but counterfeit Adidas jacket too. So I didn't mean it, but yeah, definitely perfect image of the guy who came from Soviet Union wearing Adidas. Okay. Tavarish Ronald says you can buy land in Russia. I honestly don't know about Russia, but in Ukraine, until now, you couldn't buy land. Okay, we got another donation from TT. Thank you so much. I know you live in Michigan. Tell me, what do you think of Grand Rapids area? By the way, I love the videos and keep up the good work. I like Grand Rapids a lot. I live 90 miles south of Grand Rapids. It's a really cool town. It's pretty small. I like downtowns. There is some good jobs there. It used to be like a big furniture center during the good old days in America. It's a neat town. There's a lot of cultural things going on. DeVos family is the only thing is has huge influence over it. There's Avon, that multi-level system. They're huge in Grand Rapids. They're originally from there. But close by, there's a Holland, beautiful town. They got Tulip Festival in the spring. You're close to the Lake Michigan beaches. I like Grand Rapids a lot. So yeah, if you don't mind winters, Grand Rapids is nice. It's small enough, but at the same time, it's pretty neat. Tavarish Ronald adding that in Donbass, it sounds like he's in Russia. People fought for freedom with whatever they had. I don't know. You're talking about current events. I've seen some modern tanks that magically appeared there, and I assume they came from Russia. And it's kind of magical that some 50-year-old coal miner suddenly knows how to operate modern tank, or knows how to operate anti-air missile systems. So sure. And I saw a lot of those local Donbass people have Asian eyes, like they came from Chita region, from different tanks. So yeah, we know who Nas tam netu. It's already was debunked many times. If you still believe there is a coal miners can just resist the regular Ukrainian army with a crappy army, you need to get some reality check. Have you seen Pizza Hut commercial with Gorbachev? I don't remember that. I think I saw a long time ago. What cracks me up is the Wendy's Soviet-style commercials from 80s. Those are very funny about fashion shows. I recommend to look them up on YouTube. They're hysterical. Hey, we got $100 donation. Thank you guys. So we reached our goal. Now I can buy another couple bottles of Sobieski vodka to stay contained. Okay, another question. In the USSR, the most people identified first the Soviet and then individual republics. I can't tell for anyone. For me, I was first of all Soviet, then Ukrainian, and it also pissed me off when we watched hockey, like playing with Canada, and they say Russians playing. I was like, not Russians, Soviets. So for me, I was Soviet first of all, but I can't tell you about other republics. Definitely Baltic states didn't consider themselves Soviet. I would say, Russia, Belarus, and Ukraine were Soviet, but then like Georgians and down south, probably not. Okay, moving along. NF Crazy is only 22-year-old born in 1998. So I mean, I'm glad they provide information, and they can show you modern Russia if you're interested in it. But I said I would be skeptical about anything else. Like I remember they had the video together. This guy and F Crazy with the bold, bold and bankrupt, right? And I was like, well, that's funny. Two people that have no idea about Soviet Union talk about Soviet Union. We have one guy who wished he lived in Soviet Union, bold and bankrupt. And another guy who was born 7 years after Soviet Union collapse. Okay, so probably people can learn something interesting about those guys, but still, But if you look amount of subscribers of both of them, I'm like, well, they do something right, because my goodness, one got 800,000 subscribers and one got over a million. But my videos are mostly like lectures. A lot of people tell me they don't even watch my video; they just listen. They do their own thing and they just listen to my sexy Russian accent, and they're happy with that. It's totally cool. So it's fine. There's a question: where were you born? I was born in Kiev, Ukraine, in 1971. How would you compare shortages in USA with COVID-19 shortages in Soviet Union? Not even close. I mean, there's some things are missing, like toilet paper and cleaners, but yeah. You need to shrink the supermarket to the size of the gas station shopping area and take half of the goods out, then it'll be closed. Like, it depends, of course, inside. If you shop in Moscow versus you shop in some Siberian city, I mean, there's the pictures, like you have a shelf full of one kind, like tomato juice, and it looks like it's full, but it's one product. So, I mean, it's interesting, like they quit, like our supermarket used to be 24-hour supermarkets, like Meyer here in Michigan. Now they open from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. I was like, wow. So that's question comes, can you speak Polish? No, I understand Polish, but I can't speak Polish. Polish is, once you filter out the sound, it's you can understand what they're saying, but no. I can't speak. I can say a couple of words. I know dupa, sklep, kobieta, dzień dobře, but no. What are the difference in language between Russian and Ukrainian? It's similar to like difference between Portuguese and Spanish. I mean, most Ukrainians can understand Russian, but not all Ukrainians can not all Russians can understand Ukrainian, kind of like that way. What do you think of Lada Niva? I'm planning to make a video about it. I think that car was totally useless for the Soviet Union, but it started this trend of these little SUVs, like toy SUVs, but in Soviet Union it was super expensive, extremely unpractical. It was no waiting list for Nivas because it just was so expensive and so tiny, cramped. And like people in the country, they needed way bigger vehicle. You need pickup truck kind of thing. That Niva doesn't do pickup truck. Okay, moving along. Got some people joining even from Russia again. How's coronavirus in Michigan? Well, I live kind of out in the country, so not that bad, but Detroit is pretty bad. So all the urban areas, that's where the people are crowded. Yes, it's pretty bad. Okay. Got some Spanish discussion going on here. Do you think Russia will annex eastern part of Ukraine? Well, they were planning to annex more than eastern part. I mean, they were trying to get all the Black Sea area going all the way to Moldova, because in Moldova they chopped the to Pridnestrovia way back in 90s. It's kind of like a little Russian enclave. So the plan was to go all the way through Odessa and take all that eastern part, but they would like to, but because of the sanctions and right now with financial situation in Russia, I don't think they can afford it. But definitely that was the plan, I believe. What is your favorite American food? I like mac and cheese. Like that's mac and cheese is awesome. I never had mac and cheese. Julie is asking, please do another book 96, 99. Well, I'm almost done with 96, but it's in Russian. If you can learn Russian, you can read 96 right away. But I'm kind of planning to go for just born in the USSR book and just tell you all my story of Soviet life in the Soviet Union, like from my perspective, my parents, grandparents. So that's my plan. So I don't know. How was the prostitution in the USSR? Never experienced that. That was happening. It's actually, if you watch that Netflix show, Farza, they show a girl there. So there are some girls helping foreign tourists not to be lonely. So the only big cities. Otherwise, we really didn't have that. I mean, when everyone is poor and it's cheap to be poor, you're not that desperate to sell your body for money. But in big cities, you know, there were girls that preferred to for $50, you know, to make it one night instead of working in the factory and breaking your back for, you know, $5 a month. Okay. Was the Soviets allowed to travel to the Soviet-friendly countries as tourists? Yes, but it was a long waiting list. I have some videos about Soviet tourism. I have a playlist already says Soviet tourism, so you're welcome to check it out. There's a big story, if people watched it, familiar about people traveling to England and stuff. Have you already go to Cuba? Nope. That's on my bucket list. I would like to go and see it. Right now it became harder because Trump put the limitations, and of course, since now you can't travel at all. Hello, do you know Lars of Survival Russia channel? He is how I found your channel. No, it's actually kind of curiously, he's watching my channel, and apparently it's during the long winter nights in Russia, he found my channel. He likes to learn about Soviet Union since in modern Russia. So that's how I learned about him. Suddenly my channel got like 600 subscribers in one day, and people saying Lars sent me here, and who the heck is Lars? So that's how I found him. I watched his channel a little bit. It's just kind of like, people who like this survival basic stuff. It's a great show. But yeah, he's apparently likes my channel because he likes to learn about what Russia was before 1991. And we got a big jump again in the comments. See if I can find what I was. It's a lot of comments jump through. Uh, Somebody, okay, about traveling, somebody added. It's actually, I believe it was maybe, I think maybe it was still during the Soviet Union. I was invited to go. You couldn't just go to like Western Germany, right? Well, that time it was already Germany is one. I got invitation. You have a paper coming from other, like, hey, we would like to offer this guy to stay with us and travel. This is the only way they'll let you out. But I want to try to get permission from, because you need to have a signature from place of your work. You need spravka, a special document that they have no issues with you going to the capitalist country, so you don't know any state secrets. And this old fart former KGB guy probably, he's like, nope, I'm not signing this paper. And I think that was the first time that I was really pissed about this ridiculous. Like, I just got to the job, I didn't know anything. Like, I was still trainee, and it's like, no, this is a secret facility, kind of like почтовый ящик, mailbox. You can't go anywhere. And I was like, I was not happy camper. That's correct. I'm glad people remember that I said something like that. This is cool. Did you ever hear of Radio Moscow? No. I mean, our Moscow in Russian language, but I never. Hey, there's an awesome request. Can you say moose and squirrel? This is first time I learned about Boris and Natasha when I went down south for job. I stayed there for a month, and I had this. Here I work with Americans. No one asked me that. Over there, there's like, hey, say moose and squirrel, and they all chuckle. And I was like, what the hell is so funny? That's how I discovered about the show, Bullwinkle or something. I don't remember the name, but that was this Boris and Natasha, right? And moose and squirrel. And that's how I started like figure out why, like in the True Lies show. Remember this? Arnold was telling his wife like she's gonna be a spy, and my name is Boris, and she's like, my name Natasha. He's like, no, your name is Doris or something. And I didn't like they didn't translate it into Russian. Like no one in Russia knows about that show, and it's kind of ridiculous. A lot of Americans build their image of Soviets or Russians based on the American cartoon about Boris and Natasha. Anyway, so yeah, there's a gap. Must get moose and squirrel, but my accent is not that strong anymore. Okay, moving along. Love your channel. Thank you for great content. By the what there are some American movies promoted in the USSR. The biggest movie that was all over, like they actually showed it on TV, not in movie theaters, was The Day After, about that nuclear war. That the movie they showed on the main channel in the Soviet Union was a big deal. So that's the one I can think right away. Good thing Comrade Sergei doesn't like war because shots were fired at life of Boris. I'm planning to make the whole video because and I'm glad he's making fun, but a lot of people take it for real. It's like some people here in America heard that you can inject bleach and fight coronavirus, and there's already some people died. So because they're constantly asking, we have these questions. Are you familiar with Gopniks? And have you seen Gopniks? Or It's like, I know where it's coming from. As I said, he just, there's the word for it. It's not sketch, but kitsch, right? Maybe. So you take something and you just blow it out of proportion, but unfortunately, some people take it like a real thing because not many people know reality of Soviet. Union or Russia. So, I said, this is, you get information from a Baltic, young kid from Baltic states talking about Slavs. I said, it's like Russians will be getting information about Americans from Mexico. This is kind of similar because in Baltic states, they even don't speak Russian, right? Their native language is totally different from Russian. I understand maybe Ukrainian or Belarusian kids Slav. If you're in Baltic states, you're not Slav. So when not Slav tell you about Slavs, anyway. Did the Soviet Union had the version of Rambo? I mean, we had some movies kind of similar, but we didn't have. See, in Soviet Union, it's it's against the whole. We are a collective force. We're not like in America. It's always this individual. There's one person can save the world. You have Rambo or whatever. All this, a lot of movies and the whole idea like one person can change the world. Once we elect Donald Trump, he's just going to turn America around, make America great again. He's going to take care of China. He's going to build the wall with Mexico. Mexico going to pay for it. Oh, we need just the right guy in the right spot. Our mentality was always like it is a collective thing. So we never had this movies or shows that one person just boom does everything. So that was always mentioned like, yeah, look at this individualistic kind of stuff they show in America. All right, we got another $10 donation. Real Light City Studios, thank you so much. Been your fan for a while. A filmmaker and history buff. You provide so many small details about life in the USSR. I love it. I would appreciate if you checked our films. Based out of Chicago, have you been there? Oh man, I live 90 miles from Chicago, comrade. So I've been in Chicago many times. We go there once in a while just to stay downtown so kids can enjoy the city life. They just like to ride escalators. I'm just like, when you grow up in a big city and you see your kids, all they need for entertainment, go to downtown McDonald's and ride escalator up and down. He's like, oh my God, we're such a village people now. But yeah, I've been in Chicago, yeah. Quite a few times go there. I mean, we fly out of O'Hare all the time. So I would check your movies, yeah, see what you got. But yeah, appreciate it. I think, the devil in the small details. This is what kind of like, there's a couple things I mentioned that people caught it and now they can catch BS because they know the reality. Like there's classical music on the radio. Like it's a big, huge, tiny detail that changes the whole perspective. Like, okay, you turn the radio on and there's a classical music in the middle of the day and it's not between 2 and 3, so something bad happened, so you can make a lot of even jokes based on the classical music. Okay, so thank you so much for your donation, appreciate it. So yeah, we're neighbors. I'm on, if you live in Michigan, if you use your hand right, so I live right here, right by the St. Joseph Benton Harbor area, so close to I-94. How do you think Soviet education fares with the modern day Eastern Asia? I kind of think there's a lot of similarities because, like, my life as a pupil in school was miserable. Like, we had so much homework, so many classes, went to school on Saturdays, and I see my kids, I was like, Jesus, they have no homework and everything, like, so primitive. They finish high school, and then colleges, you pay money to colleges to teach them what they should be learning in high school. So no wonder, like China and other Asian countries, they like way ahead on their scores. They got way, more advanced engineers. A lot of you look at the names here, people work at Google, Facebook, is all from India, China, Korea. I don't know, it's pretty scary. Okay, we got some discussions about sunflower seeds, shells. Like another thing, like I remember when I came with my wife, she's American, to Ukraine, and she was shocked to see a lot of sunflower seeds shells on the playground because if you don't have to squat, you want, you just sit down on the bench, which a lot of benches for moms at the playgrounds, they just sit there all night talking or half of the night and smoking and then you see all this spit shells around. I remember she was shocked. Okay, we got Rational Ball again. Thank you so much for your donation. I've met people born in Soviet Union who moved here. They were surprised. US propaganda against Soviets was G.I. Joe Rambo, but Soviet propaganda was about US workers are victims of Wall Street. Thoughts about that? Uh, Not just the Wall Street, but yeah, there's a lot of, I think I made a video about it that, you know, not all the Americans were bad. It's all about, exploatatori и exploitirume. So you got in the capitalist society, you have exploited proletariat. So you kind of on their side. So they're being exploited. And for Americans will be easier because we basically we don't have people who exploited other people technically, right? So you just generally go against bad Soviets. They're all bad, right? I mean, there'll be a couple of guys that against the Soviet system. I'm becoming losing my voice, so I need to wrap up soon. So here in America, you have classes, right? You got financiers, bankers, then you got factory owners or corporation CEOs, and then you have a regular folk people. So of course, from our perspective, I mean Soviet perspective, people on the bottom being exploited, but people from the top, we are one society. So then, of course, if you make propaganda against Soviets, you can't say, Soviet bankers, taking advantage of the Soviet workers. It doesn't make sense because we had really no bankers. We had one bank. They pay you 3% interest. I mean, they screw us in the end, but otherwise, no. So yeah, it's totally because our society was more like homogeneous, see if I can say that right. And here you got layers, and of course, people, the whole idea here, they always give you hope. Like, even if you're on the bottom, you can always make it to the top. But in reality, you have people like Donald Trump that born with a silver spoon, and you don't need to be a bright guy to make it. And then somebody will be struggling and will never make it to the top, even be very smart, because if you don't have a rich daddy, look at Bush Jr. I mean, another cowboy. And if you don't have a Bush Sr. as a dad, I don't think you'll get anywhere that close. But that's just the way it is. Was the apartment you lived built cheaply and poor quality? It was built cheaply. It was pretty poor quality, yes, but it was better than nothing. Poorly built apartment better than a one room of well built apartment that you share with another family, right? Like the house I lived originally, the dormitory was built by German prisoners of war. It was brick building, so it was built well, but we didn't have running water in our room. Like they had a communal kitchen, communal bathrooms, and only cold water. So when you moved in this panel built apartment, but you have 3 rooms and you have a bathroom and everything, it's better to have a crappy built car than a well built bicycle if you ride in the rain, right? So kind of like that. How common were Boris Dmitrievich math books? We didn't have a specific books by one author. There was always like group of authors, so I can't tell you that. But I made quite a few videos about education in Soviet Union. I provided links. You can look at actual books in the Soviet Union. All right, guys, I will be wrapping up because I'm losing my voice. I'm yapping already for 2 hours. But thank you so much for joining. We got up to 120 people joined and almost 150 likes. Let's see if we can hit 150. We need 2 more likes, and we'll have 150 likes, and then we'll wrap it up. I appreciate everyone who joined me. Hey, 152, how about that? Thank you so much. So once again, you can support this channel by buying my book, American Diaries. Ba-boom. We got some rubles to come with it. Ba-boom. So we'll talk to you soon. My next video actually be about rubles. I just need to hide in my office away from the noise, and we'll be talking about this money. I only found 2 of those when I was in Soviet Union. I found so many dollars here in America. I mean, like many, but quite more. I only found twice 1 ruble bills in my 20 years. So anyways, thank you for joining. I appreciate it. Stay healthy, stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon. До свидания. Goodbye.